Welcome to LabTech Monitor Overview Training. LabTech monitoring provides visibility to the agents in real time and in historical views. There are three types of monitors within LabTech: network, system, and internal. Let's first review the remote monitors, which includes network and system. In this lesson, we will learn how to add, modify, and delete both types of monitors. To add a network monitor, you will need to left-click in the navigation tree to expand Clients, left-click to expand a client, left-click to expand a location, left-click to expand a computer. Right-click on Monitors on that computer. We'll go to Monitors and left-click to add new monitor. You can see you have the ability to use the wizard to create the new monitor, and I will choose to do so at this time. Left-click Yes to use the wizard. Alternatively, if you click No and choose not to use the wizard, it will launch the monitor and you can fill out the tabs manually. Your first choice here is what type of monitor do you want to create, and this is where we have the ability to designate this as a network monitor. If I leave network selected, I can click on Next. What kind of monitor do I want to perform? Here I will select the protocol. I can leave the default value of ping selected. Now I will enter the IP address or hostname we want to ping. For this network monitor, you have to choose which machine you want it to run on. By default, it's going to be populated by the machine I was on when I right-clicked on Monitors to add the monitor. It's reflecting the same client and location and computer I was on at that time. During this wizard, if I want it to run on a different machine, I can make those changes here and click Next. How often do I want this network monitor to run? I will leave the frequency set to 5 minutes, but you can see we have a variety of options, including custom, frequency. How often do we want this monitor to run? By default, it is set to 5 minutes. If we click on the drop-down, we have a variety of other options, including custom. Custom is going to be a number of seconds. I could set this monitor to run every 15 seconds if I like. Please keep in mind, any monitor that you run as often as every 15 seconds could potentially have a performance impact on that agent. Left click on Next and we get to the alert style. Alert style determines how often we want. Alert style determines how we want to send the alert. Once is going to be when the monitor fails once, we will send the alert at that time. We can choose an interval, or we can choose continuous, which will send an alert every time, which will send an alert for every cycle of the monitor until the alert state has been cleared. We also have to specify an alert template. Click on the drop-down to see all alert templates currently loaded in the system and select one of them. Click on Next. Here we can customize the alert message that is being sent if this monitor raises an alert. Left-click in the field and press F2 to get a drop-down that contains a list of all possible variables that we can include in this message. We're ready to finish this monitor. We need to give it a name. And click on Finish. We have seen how to create a network monitor using the new monitor wizard. Let's take a look at creating a system monitor, and in this case, we will not use the wizard. To create a new remote monitor, once again we go to Monitors under an agent, right-click, Monitors, Add New Monitor. In this case, I will say no. I do not want to use the wizard. And the monitor pops up with screens where we can fill out each tab to customize this wizard. I will start with a name. Once again, the client, location, and computer are already populated since I right-clicked on monitor under this computer to create this monitor. If I want this monitor to run on a different agent, I can specify that here. Now that I've named this monitor, I'm ready to go to the Alerting tab. Once again, I will need to specify an alert template in the drop-down. Alert style. For the purpose of this example, I will say we'll only notify. For the purpose of this example, I will choose third for the alert style, which means we will only send an alert after the third consecutive failure by this monitor. Alert message subject on success. Here we can customize the subject of the message that will be sent once the alert has been cleared. Once again, we can customize the alert message, and if we left click in this field and press F2, we see a drop down of all available LabTech variables that can be included in this message. Here we have the alert message subject for failure. This will be the subject line of any notification message that goes out when the monitor has failed. Script action. Here we can specify a certain autofix script to take as a result of this monitor being triggered. So in this case, I will make a monitor to monitor a service. So what I will do is specify the autofix actions monitor restart service. And we will configure which service we want to monitor on the configuration tab. Once again, the monitor type here, I'll make it a service check. Interval, this is 60 seconds, once a minute. I will leave that set to 60 seconds. Service name. Service name. You can manually type in the name of the service, or you could click on the drop-down list to select one from a list of all services running on the machine. Check condition. We'll say the check condition equals 1. Notice above here, this tells us returns 1 if the service is running and 0 if the service is stopped. A remote monitor like this one is always going to be looking for the check condition to be true when we have set check condition to be equal. So it's going to monitor if this service is running, looking for a value of 1, and anytime this service is monitored and discovered that the value is not 1, that will trigger our alert. We click on Add New to save that new system monitor. The other type of monitor is an internal monitor, which runs against the LabTech database that contains data received from the agents on scheduled intervals. By default, the agents only send data once per day. Let's now review the default internal monitors and understand how to add, modify, and delete if needed. To access internal monitors, left-click on the Monitors button in the toolbar. Left-click on the Internal Monitors tab. These are built-in internal monitors that come configured this way on installation. Double-click on a monitor to edit it. Here we can specify how often it is running. We can specify how often we want to alert. Once again, the alert message can be customized by left-clicking in the field and pressing F2 to get a list of available variables. Once again, we can specify a script action. In this case, you can see this monitor, which is monitoring auto services that are stopped, is already configured to attempt to restart the service with an autofix script if the service is determined to be stopped. Notice here the check conditions include information that is pertinent to our LabTech database, as once again, internal monitors are only monitoring data in the database. What table in the database are we checking? In what field? We have the state, looking for a field of stopped. Here we can specify which days we want this monitor to be running. And in the additional conditions field, we can add parameters to further control which services we're monitoring, or in this case, which ones we're excluding. This is a SQL statement that is specifying do not alert on any of these services included in this list. That can be useful to prevent alert clutter for monitoring services that are not critical. You can specify which client or location or computer you want this monitor to run on, as well as which group. Right-click in the Groups window to add a specific group that you want this monitor to run on. The Script Disable field will prevent the AutoFix script from being run on specific clients or locations. Disabled computers will prevent this monitor from being run on specific clients or locations or agents. You can click Save to make changes. Click Save to save any changes you've made to this monitor, or click Close to exit the monitor. To add a new monitor, right-click in the window and choose New Monitor. This will bring up a list of available monitors that are other internal monitor types that can be added to LabTech. Simply specify the one you're looking for and click on Next to add that monitor. Customize it accordingly and close. It is possible to delete an internal monitor, but it is recommended that before deleting any internal monitors, export them first. To export a monitor, double-click on it to edit the properties of it, and click on the Export button. That way, in case for any reason you should want to have that internal monitor back, you can import it back into LabTech without having lost it forever. If you have already exported the monitor and you are sure you want to delete it, right-click on it, then left-click Delete Monitor, and if you truly do want to delete it, left-click on OK to delete the monitor. Additional training is available for advanced monitoring configurations in our how-to videos. This concludes LabTech Monitor Overview training.